Welcome to MCP's workflow demo. You'll see how MCP drives high value within 7 user experiences from initial application through post-closing on the LOS. In this session, we're going to focus on the processor's workflow and how MCP drives value for mortgage processors. We'll start as a processor receives a task to review a loan, handles their workflow and job duties, reviews documents, and then as they get ready to submit the loan to underwriting, receive some data validations to confirm all of the information is in the loan before moving forward. Let's get started. As a processor first opens up MCP, they can organize their day using the pipeline dashboard or the tasking dashboard. The tasking dashboard is going to take the individual pieces of the loan process and break those up into a digital checklist for processors to work on and complete. Processors with security rights can see department tasks or select tasks from a queue of all loans that have been submitted to processing, or work off of their personal tasks that were automatically assigned to them, depending on logic in MCP. For this processor, they're going to use the features to sort and organize their tasking dashboard. In this case, the processor is elected to use column grouping to visualize their tasks and nest due dates of the different tasks below. Clicking on Received in Processing, the processor can see tasks that were submitted to them, such as loan 1763 shown below. Clicking on the task, the processor will open up a workflow collection for mortgage processing. They can see key dates about this loan and navigate into individual loan tasks on this loan. It is here where, as a processor, if they confirm the details of their task, 3 things will happen in MCP. Upon clicking Save, the status of the loan will change from submit to processing to in processing. The completed date on the task is logged for any performance indicating or reporting that needs to be done on how loans are moving through processing. And additionally, 3 tasks have loaded below for the processor to know what exists on their digital checklist for this loan. Let's get to work on those by opening up our favorites drawer on the left-hand side. To begin by reviewing borrower information and loan information, the processor will go into their workflow collection and begin to step through the different pages involved in this workflow collection. As different pieces of information are observed, the processor can add notes to the file and work off of those tasks, such as the borrower introduction. The processor can also communicate with the borrower by using these borrower center category notes, similar to what is shown in the borrower first experience session. To add a loan note, the processor clicks on the Add Loan Note button, assigns a category, in this case processing. Categories are controlled with security, which can change who will be able to be change the visibility on who can see those different loan notes. And after making the call, can add notes in here about her conversation with Alice. Now, additionally, this processor received a phone call from the realtor about where this loan is going to be closing. There is a new closer on the file that the processor has not worked with before. So they're going to add some contact information into the loan notes as well as into the loan file to make sure they've got appropriate email addresses. The processor is going to add a note about the closing now that she's heard back from the realtor on where this will be closing at. Additionally, a keyword can be added that is searchable within the notes module for all users that have access to this note. Now that the processor knows this closing has been confirmed, they can begin to work on updating the contact information for Lisa at MC Settlement Services. To do so, the processor will navigate to a page called Companies and Contacts. view global contacts, and add the company. After the changes are complete and MC Settlement Services has been added, processor can click on OK, and that will be available now as a settlement agent or title company to select from in the system. The processor will navigate back into their workflow and pick up where they left off. On this particular application, an intent to proceed has been received, so the processor is ready to collect an application or appraisal fee to begin ordering services. That can be accomplished a couple of ways in MCP. If the borrower provides a physical check can be logged here in this deposits page. Alternatively, using a service integration with Mortgage Cadence's partner Fiserv, payments can be collected here for the different fees that apply to this borrower. Different fees from the fee module can be mapped, such as condo certifications, through configuration, and those fees can be selected and totaled where credit card details are added. This is end-to-end encryption between the vendor, Clover Connect by Fiserv, and Mortgage Cadence, and none of the credit card information is stored on MCP. Now, after the fee has been collected, the processor can go to the loan fees module and update the application fee to paid outside of closing. If using Clover Connect, some of those details can populate automatically after the fee has been confirmed. But in our case, the borrower elected to drop off a check. We'll update the paid outside of closing to $499. And as seen here, this will now map appropriately to any generated loan estimates or closing disclosures for items that have been paid by the borrower outside of closing. Moving on in the processing workflow, settlement information page, settlement partner can be added. If there were any attorneys, these would have been listed in the companies and contacts page where I can choose from them from a global library. And when I add a new partner, that is added to the library for all future or subsequent loans in the system. If I have details about the wire information as a processor, I can add that here, but perhaps that may be a closer responsibility. Next up, I'm going to place some orders for title insurance, order an appraisal through Mercury. We'll order tax transcripts and some other reports that can assist the processor in completing their verifications. We'll start off with the title. Mortgage Cadence is integrated with a tool called Collaboration Center that is proprietary to Mortgage Cadence. Using the power of Collaboration Center, processors and other users with security permissions can place preliminary title orders and also order closings on the platform. Here, we're going to order a title commitment from our MC Settlement Services partner. The closing date will automatically populate. And if there's any additional details or documents I need to send along with this, I can search, find those, and send those over to the agent securely via the Digital Collaboration Center platform. After the order is created, a confirmation message is listed here. And eventually this status will update based upon the response from the settlement agent. Now let's go ahead and order the appraisal as well, now that we've collected our fee. The processor, using the same services icon here, can order an appraisal. We're going to use our integration with Mercury. Clicking on Get Order fields will populate data from the loan. There will be a few selections that the processor will still have to make based upon the appraisal type that is required by AUS. A due date can be added that is submit to the appraiser. And any unique property characteristics can also be added here. There is a validation here around the contact information for the agent involved, just to make sure that we have a secondary contact. I've taken care of that. And now down below, any required documentation that we need to send, just like with the title order, can be searched from below, selected, and transmit to Mercury. After the order is created, status updates will also come back into MCP, similar to the title order. Now you've seen how title and appraisal are ordered. Other reports, if I wanted to order a drive report or other compliance integrations, I can find those here. This is also where I would order things like tax transcripts and verification of Social Security numbers. Those can be transmit through the Services Center here. And if I needed to rerun DU in this case, I can also do that through this menu. We'll go ahead and order a compliance report through Data Verify Drive. Our underwriter prefers to see these in the file. For all purchases, the processor can place an order here, and the data and documents will be ingested into MCP. Now, alternatively, lenders can configure this to automatically fire upon submission to processing or submission to underwriting to save on the manual effort. Now, after I've placed my orders, I want to begin reviewing and organizing the documents that have been added to this file. I'll first go over to my tasks and clear some of the tasks I have taken care of, and proceed to review documents. I'll use document tracking, which is going to sort and organize the classified documents from this loan. This is going to show me all of the different service integration responses, signed borrower disclosures, and borrower uploads. I also have access to filters to sort from different types of documents that may have been provided on this loan. And I can employ an organized stacking order that's configured in the admin level that allows me to view documents in an expected or desired order. Now, when I review certain document types, I can either open all of them up through our on-platform document viewer. This will give me a tab that I can then move over to another monitor or split screen. And if there are any documents that have this rename next to it, that indicates it's a document that imaging did not originally recognize. I can go back and rename these documents on document tracking. But in the meantime, I'm going to go through and look at some of the different documents that have come through. Here I can see the results of the drive report that was just ordered moments ago. We're using a fictional borrower, so a lot of fictional data will give these alerts. And I can see a W-2 that was uploaded previously by the borrower. We'll touch more on that later. Navigating back to document tracking, as I'm looking over those documents, if I want to add any notes around the timeframes or types of documents, I can use the miscellaneous note category or column here to add that. I also can click on a document to review it and see if the time frame of this document is acceptable for the loan. If I have a pay stub that's beyond 30 days, I could add in a date here and indicate that this pay stub is not okay, meaning that I'd like to collect another one that is more recent. There are 5 statuses that MCP provides. Okay, indicating it's okay for the underwriter to review. Received can sit in a shadow folder where if you have 2 years of tax returns collected, but perhaps AUS is calling for 1, those can remain here where the underwriter will look at the OK docs. And later on, when this loan is ready to be offloaded in the post-closing session, the final status will help determine which documents should be extracted from MCP into long-term storage. If I had any additional documents to upload, I can use the Upload Documents button to include any documents that may have been sent from secure email. But this is also going to show documents the borrower has uploaded here as well. We'll fast forward a little bit. Our processor has now received an appraisal back, and they've received a title commitment from the title agency. We can see those here in the document tracking module. I can select the appraisal to view it. This came in directly through the Mercury integration. So we'll also have data that will have populated to the Mercury appraisal review page. As a processor, I'm going to go back to my digital checklist and tasks and see that now that appraisal has come through, I've received some dynamic tasks to review the appraisal and review the invoice. Upon reviewing the invoice, I noticed that the appraiser is charging more for this unique property than what they had charged before. So I'm going to need to handle a change of circumstance on this based upon that invoice. I'll go ahead and clear this and then take a look at the rest of the appraisal. But for now, I want to address the fee difference. So I'll go into my loan fees module. Select the appraisal fee. And there wasn't a huge difference, but this came back at $625. And given that this falls into a 0% change bucket, we can see that I have a fee violation here at the top of the screen. And additionally, a page within MCP called Integrated Disclosure Comparison is how these fee violations are easily identified. Earlier, when the initial disclosures were generated, a snapshot was taken of the loan estimate, or later on of a closing disclosure, as we'll see, and that will be reviewed by MCP, and this appropriate icon will show next to the violation that's occurred with a variance amount. I'll navigate back to fees and show how I would address that. So selecting the appraisal fee, I'll click on the pencil or edit icon, and down below, depending on how I wanted to handle this, I could issue a cure, but in this case, we were notified by the appraiser of something that we couldn't determine or couldn't predict necessarily, unique property. And this will be logged for reporting purposes. Now you'll notice I still have a fee violation here. I haven't completed the process until I actually generate a redisclosure package. So going into order docs, to order a redisclosure package, I would place the order using this button like other documents on this loan. Now, before I do that, I do need to set a date that a new loan estimate is being recorded. That will trigger off the snapshot of this and make sure that that document is appropriately memorialized in the system. I'll go to the LE terms and projected payments page, set the date, save, and now I can place an order for the package. We do have a change of circumstance package, or I can send a loan estimate. We'll get our notification in the bottom right that the document has been ordered successfully, and we'll wait for that to load with a hyperlink so I can review it. I'll scroll down on the document, and now I can see the updated fee and double check on the other terms that will be sent out. I'll send this one electronically to the borrower. And it will go through to their Borrower Center loan dashboard. After this has been sent, the processor can track the disclosure timing of it on the disclosure delivery tracking page. Next up, we'll review the appraisal details. The details will have come through from Mercury, like the appraiser company, square footage, year built, appraised value. Now, if all looks good, I would have the appraisal open in another tab or window. I can go to my tasks, clear the review, and now review the results of the interface orders that have come in. So I mentioned that earlier, able to see things like the compliance reports like fraud or drive that were ordered. I can see my successful order here. I can also see the completed order for title where that preliminary settlement was sent back. Within the processing workflow collection, I have pages where I can go in and verify some of those pieces of information. Next up, I'm going to go to the underwriting conditions module. Just going to double check that the documents I've looked over as a processor are included on the conditions for the loan, and that things are in order for my underwriter to quickly and efficiently review and hopefully approve this loan file. Scrolling through the conditions here, I want to double check and make sure that some of the documents I received are linked to conditions on this module. The borrower happened to send over a W-2 via Borrower Center earlier on, but I want to make sure that it's linked to this condition. Using this wrench icon, I can link existing documents from document tracking to the condition. I also have the ability to upload a new document and link or either link and clear the condition depending upon my security permissions. So I attached all three to make sure that they're linked to this particular condition. And clicking on it, I'll be able to see in the documents and attachments those particular documents that were attached. Now, MCP will also recognize and classify doc types. So some of those that were uploaded may already be in here, but this is a great place to add things like a letter of explanation or supplemental information that may not be the same type, like income related or asset related for different asset or property related conditions. I also have access to linked loan data. We'll cover this more as an underwriter, but those W-2s that were uploaded through Mortgage Cadence's Document AI feature, the data can be extracted off of income documents into MCP, and we can see the results of that here for Alice's employment with Abacab. From there, the underwriter can review the data that was extracted, the linked documents, and the income that's all here in one place where they'll be able to adequately calculate income for borrower approval. Go ahead and save this file. And if everything looks good here, I'm ready now to submit this loan to underwriting. I'll go to the utilities over here in the top right. I'll go to my individual menu here for processing and click on Submit to Underwriting. In the background, MCP will do a check validation to confirm if there was any missing information that we want our underwriter to have. The processor will now have to address it on the check condition review page. I have that in my favorites drawer. So I'll click on that and reload the check conditions page. And we can see here a condition was added for missing manner of title held. Through linked pages on the check feature, I can click on the title review page. And it will guide me right to the information that I need to complete. And this is one of many pre-configured checks for different checkpoints in the origination process, where once I've met that, I'll save and resubmit the loan. Click on Processing and Submit to Underwriting. And then up at the top, we'll see the status change. This will kick off a task for the underwriter to pick up in our next session. In this session, we saw how a processor can use their tasking dashboard as a digital checklist to work through loans in their pipeline, how they would manage and update documents to organize them for underwriting, handle a change of circumstance, and also how check can work in the background to validate information and halt for missing information before the processor can resubmit that loan to underwriting successfully.